Anthony Fauci is going to be testifying in front of Congress. And what makes this explosive is that Rand Paul now has Anthony Fauci's diary that he was writing throughout the whole time period. Folks, this is vile and disgusting what is in here about how he was misleading and withholding facts, discussions, meetings, and policy decisions from all of us throughout this whole time period. Well, RFK Jr. just told us something that none of us could have ever expected. This is going to blow your mind.
Is this massive dichotomy between what he was saying privately and what he was simultaneously saying publicly. He says in his diaries on January 30th that the Wuhan lab could not possibly be the source of the virus.
Oh, we know that was all false.
Then, well, we all know it, but now his diary, he says he knew that, and yet for 2 years he told us that that was the case.
But he was given a pardon prospectively from the last administration. We don't know if it was an auto pen pardon. It doesn't really matter for legality purposes. But Americans want to know, a lot of them, is there going to be any accountability for trillions of dollars lost, children's education destroyed, and public health reputation, public health industry reputation shattered?
Yeah, and millions of people injured.
Exactly.
You know, he lied about masks. He lied about social distancing. He lied about the transmission. He lied about natural immunity. He lied about the capacity, as you just said, of the vaccine to prevent infection. He got vaccinated. A very, very public.
Here, I'm going to pause this because I need you to pay attention to this next segment. This is explosive and will make your blood boil.
Press conference in January of 2020. And then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody. He got treated for it privately by the best doctors in America. At the same time, he was telling everybody that that was not an adverse event.
Listen to what RFK Jr. just said. And again, this is in Anthony Fauci's own handwriting. This is his own diary. So none of this is made up. And this can't be, quoted as mis or disinformation. That Fauci ended up getting a side effect from the vaccine, plus or minus the time period that he was vaccinated. And one of the side effects, this is a majorly serious side effect that evidently he had, was one of the ones that he was denying could happen to all of us throughout the whole time. Remember, safe and effective for everybody? Well, turns out that it wasn't for him.
Anything else we're missing from these diaries that has not been released that you can share with us tonight?
I don't think, I have to say a lot of this stuff is in my book, but based upon other documents. But there's something very dramatic, even for me, of seeing him write it in his own journal.
Exactly.
Confessing to being wrong, to lying about all this
Also loving his own press. I mean, they're going on and on. Well, I'm the most.
Yeah, what Laura's getting at is there were a number of entries where Fauci was just loving the fact that he was being celebrated. In fact, let's get to that clip. Here, Harris Faulkner is going to walk us through this adoration and this ego that was being driven by Fauci throughout this whole diary entry period. And folks, again, if this doesn't make your blood boil for what all of us went through during this time period, I don't know what else will.
Senator Rand Paul has released Anthony Fauci's diary entries, and they appear to show a man more focused on his own stardom than tackling the global pandemic that was killing people. One entry from May 2020 reads this way. Big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It is not hyperbolic to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world.
Think about this. He was tasked by the president to lead us through one of the worst health situations that we've ever faced, evidently. And all he was worried about this whole time in his private diary entries was his ego and about how popular and famous he is. And as you can see here, he's the most talked about person in the country. And he's actually got clips and quotations from some of the newspaper articles that were adoring him and glamorizing him and telling everybody how great he was. We remember this, right? He ended up getting the nickname Saint Fauci from the left because it was almost cult-like behavior and following him and saying that anything he says is absolute truth and anybody who has any questions is just a moron and a conspiracy theorist.
Countless profiles on me. I cannot even read all the things that were written about me since I am so busy. Literally.
Unreal.
All of that's a quote. By that point, nearly 100,000 Americans had already died from COVID. Now look here. These are just a few clippings taken from the doctor's diary. Donuts with his face on them, his own bobblehead, the Fauci pouchies, and a collage of first responders wearing shirts with his name on them. Fauci was bragging.
It's almost, folks, like this is just a joke because it really is. That when you look at the trust and the position of authority that he had, and then when you see in his own handwriting how he was abusing this trust to the point where he's just interested in these trinkets and these bobbleheads and in the newspaper articles. For all of us who have friends and family members who were injured or no longer here because either the shot or because of the disease, this is as offensive as it gets. And again, tomorrow morning at 8:30, Fauci's under oath.
In his diary about his role getting lockdowns implemented. Here's what he wrote, quote, I spoke with Bill de Blasio, that was the mayor of New York at the time, as you may know, and convinced him based on what I was saying publicly and my conversation tonight to close the NYC schools, he had already decided based on what I was saying on TV. I had a similar call with Ann O'Leary, the chief of staff of Governor Gavin Newsom's office, and said based on my TV appearances, the governor has decided to close the schools in California as well as the bars and restaurants. That's different than what I told The Hill in 2022.
I wonder if you would recommend locking down schools if you had to do it all over again.
Well, again, it's first of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. You're asking me questions. You're talking about the CDC is the public health agency that uses their epidemiologists and their science-based approach to make recommendations.
But he said they made those decisions based on what he said on TV. Fauci's obsession.
And again, this isn't made up, folks. This is his own handwriting in his own diary. So for anybody that's to say that this is all just a falsehood, it's not the case. This guy's ego was being driven through this whole process, and he was actually taking a giggle and a little hit to his ego while they were shutting down schools. Just think about the pain and the destruction and the blunting of all of the social skills and all of the situational growth that our students didn't experience because their schools were shut down. And all the while, this guy in his own handwriting is just getting a kick out of it the whole time.
With his own fame seems even starker when put into numbers. The phrases peer review, meta-analysis, risk-benefit, learning loss, and mental health appear a grand total of 0 times in the diary entries. Meanwhile, award, 80 mentions. Hero, 49 times. Instagram, 36 times. Selfie, 19 times. And there were 641 entries headed with the word press.
So I'm going to leave this image up here because I need to ask you a question. When you're looking at, again, what we went through, and then you're looking at this analysis in his own handwriting of the themes that he was writing about. It was never internal discussions in his diary about science. It was about him getting awards and being a hero and being popular on Instagram. I mean, folks, this is like talking to a 13-year-old girl that's more worried about how many followers and likes she has versus scientific decisions. This is St. Fauci, and this is what the Republicans need to get him on the record to talk about. And I'm going to leave you with this, right? Biden gave Fauci an auto pen pardon. We can talk about all day long the legalities of that auto pen pardon. I don't care. It's done, and as far as I'm concerned, it's obvious why Biden and his, or at least one of his staff members, did it. That said, this gentleman, Dr. Fauci, can still be, prosecuted for perjury. And what the Republicans have to do, and this is my plea to them, they have to put him under oath every single day until, you name it, for the next 2 years, until Donald Trump, his second term is done, and get him to perjure himself. Because that's the only way that we can have consequences for what this guy that was more worried about being a hero and his Instagram followers and his bobbleheads and selfies. If this doesn't make your blood boil, then folks, just don't subscribe. Don't do anything, because you're just an idiot if this doesn't make your blood boil, because this is as offensive as anything I've ever seen, and it's as true as anything I've ever seen, because it's his own handwriting. It's his own diaries that were never supposed to be made public. Tomorrow morning, the game of Dr. Fauci, Mr. Truth, will start. Be sure to like and subscribe to The Chris Locke Show for the latest America First news, conservative commentary, and the stories that mainstream media refuses to cover. These two videos right up here, they're going to be next. Pick your favorite. I'll see you over there.